Good morning. I'm here with Cameron Gray of La Zumba Coffee here in Bali. Just got a very interesting opportunity that when he told me he was selling, I thought this, the question I get most from Wage Freedom readers is, how am I going to support myself in Bali? The thing I normally do is point everybody towards making money online. For some people, that's just not a direction they want to go or can go. I've always been reluctant to recommend physical businesses in Bali. It's I think a case-by-case basis if you were to try to buy one here. But what I think is today we've got a real possibility in this business. Just so it's said, I have no problem putting this out there with wholeheartedly as a recommendation. I know Cameron and his wife Henny, and this is a real business. It's been around for a long, long time. I think it's an exciting opportunity for the right person. So today with Cameron, we're going to explore the ins and outs of the business. And I've got some questions, but Cameron's we've got some coffee, so here we go. So this will be fun. So where should we even begin? A little bit of background, maybe about you.
Background, okay. I've come to Indonesia surfing ever since I was a kid, ever since I was 18. So that's like
10 years ago.
Oh yeah, 1981, I think it was. But I pursued a career as a carpenter, and then further on I became a licensed builder in Australia. I had a job offered to me in 1996 up in Ubud in the construction industry, supervision of a resort construction. So I took the opportunity, I came over, I packed up and moved to Bali. Didn't really think too much about it, did it, But, and then I worked in the industry. I've worked in the industry ever since, off and on, but I started this business in 2001. My idea, originally I was going to do building products, but the industry wasn't ready for higher quality products. So a friend of mine was managing director of La Zumba Coffee, and he said, why don't you do this? Okay, we talked about it, and then I launched into it.
That was an Australian brand, was it?
Australian brand, yeah.
Okay.
It started off in Wollongong. They're substantial, I think 19 million per year, I think it is, $19 million turnover per year or something. So they're a substantially strong company back there. They deal in machinery, spare parts servicing, coffee roasting, wholesale and retail. I'm only tied in with the coffee. I import our own range of machines direct from Spain, so that way we're cutting out the middleman. We also have a huge range of spare parts for about 80% of all coffee machines on the market, plus the potential to supply spare parts for a large range of commercial kitchen equipment, such as Zanussi and other Italian and European brands.
So it's a part of the opportunity here is that there's so many things that this business is currently, but that it also could be, and we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
So how about a general description? This is actually you've got several things going on. Can you describe the different verticals, you could say?
The layers of okay. Because when the company was formed and structured in 2001, Indonesian law was very general back then. So under the company AKTA, the AKTA is the company document which says what I'm allowed to do. Under that company document, we've got all of agribusiness, of commercial kitchen equipment, machinery, building products. I can be a real estate, a developer, and involved in the construction industry as well. What this company can do, you cannot do now.
And you were telling me, well, first of all, now this is a transferable AKTA.
Yes.
And you can't step. They're either not available or impossible to get.
Impossible to get now.
Okay.
Whether it be a foreign investment company or a local PT using nominee structure, which this is, you cannot get the diversity under a company AKTA that this company has.
So potentially for somebody, depending on what your background, what your interests are, you could move in, you could use this, the corporate structure that you have for such a wide range of things, actually.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. We also have the registered trademarks for Lazumba, the original and the brand new one. No, not to mess with Australia at all, but just more for protection. They're registered so that we can do other products under that name. We can do cafe, we can do hotel, restaurant, and the coffee under that name. So there's a whole range of products you could introduce under that branding. The company AKTA is agribusiness, which means production of food, packaging of food, processing of food. You can do meats of all sorts. You can do seafood.
And we're talking, when you say do, we're talking about
importing and exporting.
Both import and export side.
Yeah. So the potential's huge. And I've only just touched on coffee, machinery, and we're just expanding into pizza ovens at the moment.
You were telling me, which looks quite as promising. It sounds like, or even more so than the coffee machine.
I think so. I think it'll overtake. Plus, what we have developed last year was the barista training school.
Right.
My original idea back because of the economic and political upheavals Bali's had, it was a lot slower my advance into what I wanted to do. The idea is to create a business pod or module, whichever way you want to say it, where you have spare parts, equipment, machinery, service, food and beverage products, barista training centre, a bar service and training centre, and cafe. Now, all of them would draw off each other.
Right.
If one end of the market's down, you're drawing from the barista training centre or from the cafe.
Right.
But then what that creates is a business pod or module, which then can be licensed out.
Right.
I mean, it sounds fantastic and everything, and other people say, well, why do you want to sell? I've been in Bali a long, long time. Myself and my wife, we want to go. We've had enough, and we've got other things that we want to pursue at this point of our life. So, yeah, it's, the potential's there. It just needs some passion and a little bit of elbow grease, and it's all there for you to do.
Let's talk a little bit about the barista training, which started as an idea, but apparently you've got some traction from that.
Yeah.
You can actually show some increased business as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Can you describe that?
It's probably the only modern facility in Bali. There are other barista training locations in Bali. They're usually done at the back end of a restaurant or in the factory space, and the facilities aren't there as such to help learning apparatus, or what would you say, just the facilities, like we have a PowerPoint presentation, a table where everyone can sit around, talk and discuss and view the PowerPoint. Doing examinations in in regards to coffee, we don't just hand out certificates to anyone, they've got to pass the test.
You've got a barista who's maybe licensed for this, or
he's one of the judges of the Indonesian Specialty Coffee Association, but it's not reliant on him. The whole curriculum is structured around the Australian and the American Specialty Coffee Associations. The training manuals are in English and Indonesian, and they're based solely from the American and the Australian. Which gives it credibility. It's not just a thrown together barista training school to suit my coffee and my coffee only. It teaches all other coffee companies can send their stuff to us.
I'm with you.
Yeah, restaurants can send it to us. Kids looking for employment.
So when we were talking about this, you've got what you're seeing is you've got several areas. You've got the locals looking for employment, who are looking for a certificate. You've got folks who are coming from all over the world already. Is that true to say? Definitely Asia. Have you had any Europeans come for?
Yeah, we've had some Europeans come. They wanted to open a coffee shop when they went home. The craziest one was a Vietnamese girl living in Sri Lanka or India who wanted to open a coffee shop. She came and did it.
There's folks who actually want to go into business for themselves. That's one business, and then also I think there are some people coming in just looking for something to do for the main course is 3 days, correct?
There's all different structured courses, layers of courses. Really, for somebody to do a full 5 days, that entails 3 courses.
So, but at any rate, so a different market is people coming on holiday,
exactly,
and wanting to augment, to learn something. Plus, there's the B2B night, and you've also told me about what you tried to do or are currently attempting to do is local hospitality schools, which are huge here in Bali, right? Looking for maybe, as you say, somebody more professional, a better certification for
at the moment we're actually discussing this with getting accreditation from the government. So we become a diploma course, so that then the government will stamp that as well.
Gotcha.
So that's in the process. I can't say it's yes or no, but that's some of the potential where you could go. And as a result of that, you can then become an employment agency for baristas as well.
Right.
So the potential of the school ties into the coffee and ties everything together very nicely.
You become a sort of a nexus for anybody, no matter what. If I'm buying coffee, I need a machine. I need a machine service. If I want to learn, if I'm a local and I want to learn, if I'm a foreigner, I want to learn about the business and from the ground up. Do you teach, let's say, cafe management and things like that?
Not so much management. There is an introduction course, like if you're thinking of opening up your business, what to pay attention to. Like one of the simple things here in Bali that people don't pay attention to, and they should, I don't know why, chefs do it all the time, is cost per serve. You know, people look at the price of a kilo of coffee and they go, oh, it's expensive or it's cheap. But they don't really analyse at all. The expensive coffee actually becomes cheaper per cup. Then, you know, so we bring in all those sorts of things to teach them how to select a good coffee, the pitfalls, you know, a good machine, what to look for, and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
So a potential buyer for this business would have, will be able to step in and essentially continue what you've already constructed. Let me just throw this in while I'm thinking about it. Consulting for small and medium-sized businesses for their digital marketing is what I do. There is definitely potential here. You're already running some Facebook paid advertising, correct?
Yeah, we're struggling through it. Well, but we're getting results.
And you did tell me a little bit about that. I can tell, and I'm just going to say it bluntly. There's opportunity for optimization for this, and Cameron knows this. They've just started out. The thing about it is, and so specifically Facebook ads, but also Google AdWords, which you haven't run at all yet, right? So we're talking about paid, not organic reach. And there is, frankly, the numbers that you're getting already, and I think we should go into some of them in a minute. But to double the gross revenues for something like the courses, which I think are very exciting. Not a very big, not difficult to do at all in this case. So when you hear about these numbers, I can tell you the return on your advertising spend for AdWords and Facebook for something like this that is targeted, that gets better and better over time as you get data and you find what's working, you find your audiences that are actually converting. There's a real opportunity here. So. The one course you have now is 3.3 million
per person.
Per person. That's the bigger course.
That's the introduction to coffee.
Yeah.
And that goes from 9 o'clock in the morning till 1, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
And that's roughly $330 Aussie, right?
Yeah. So for I mean, at the moment we run 4 seats in that, so there's enough space in the school to actually do another counter and another couple of machines, so we could easily double the students in one class.
Yeah. So the capacity is there if you needed it, if you start getting more inquiries. Can you tell about how I alluded to growth because you told me that it's occurred. Compare what you've got going now to 6 months or a year ago, please.
Well, when we first opened up, there's nobody knows you, and magazine advertisement here is a complete loss. The way everyone used to advertise in Bali was the Bali Advertiser Board, you know, all that sort of stuff. So it took me a while to realise that that wasn't working at all. I'm not a computer person either, so it's sort of, you know, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
You see the Bali Advertiser there, it's the and a lot of folks are going to know the Bali Advertiser from years and years back.
Yeah, it's about this thick now. It's this,
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah, it's gone from this down.
I remember after bomb number 1, it was like this, and then it got good, but now it's then again everybody's advertising online now.
But I'm converted to the internet for as far as advertising goes, because we are getting results, kind of stumbling our way through it, but we're getting there. We're getting the numbers definitely showing up, whereas when we first started, you can imagine like sometimes there'd be one person doing the 3-day course. So the overheads are more than the, you know, but the promotion that we've done, everyone who graduates gets a free t-shirt, free hat, they get the training manual, they all commit to saying something on Facebook. So it's built, and it's all starting to bubble and squeak and get more popular. Word of mouth is spreading a little bit, but definitely with the SEOing and the social media, it's huge.
You're in terms of numbers then in the last week or two.
Last 3 weeks, the courses have been full.
Full.
Yeah, full.
So and we're not talking about just the one course. Can you be more specific?
The three-day introductory course has been full for the last 3 weeks. Before that, we were probably running on about 60%, whereas the last 3 weeks were 100% on that. The latte art is probably running on about 20%.
Just as another course offering. But so what I'm hearing is you're sort of getting started with your online campaigns, and despite that, you're already at capacity, at least the last few weeks. You can always, I assume, add more courses or parallel courses. Folks who take the introductory will be, a certain percentage will always be interested in.
Yeah, they move on to the espresso course, which is concentrating on pouring a good espresso, foaming milk, and learning how to pour and present a coffee. And then they move on to the latte art, if they're good at foaming and that. But there's also a course called brewing, manual brewing, which is more for the home body who wants to learn how to make their coffee better at home. So we go there with that one as well.
Yeah.
And downstairs there's domestic machines, so that's going to tie in with coffee sales retail, and then you've got domestic machines, and everything's starting to tie in.
You're selling machines. You are servicing machines as well.
Yeah.
You're renting machines.
We rent machines to customers. The hotels, a lot of them, they want to borrow a machine in exchange for using your coffee. So you mark the coffee price up, you give them a minimum purchase, and you loan them the machine.
I see.
And that's our responsibility to service. So that's a very common occurrence within the coffee industry. Other ways are we rent, we offer credit over 12 months, and we're doing a deal with the BCA Bank at the moment where they cover the interest for the people for a year for free. We have to give them 9% of the total sale, which is great for us because we discount machines anyway.
I see.
So that we've got to promote that a bit more. With, once again, you know, like the SEOing that particular advert, it sort of was quite good. We got rid of 3 machines. Just on coffee, okay, you got machines, service, spare parts, wholesale coffee and accessories, which you can add other products to, but then you've got the cafe and the barista training. So there's the machine, service, coffee, cafe, barista. There's 5 big stills.
Another potential avenue here that you were talking about, you mentioned franchising. So currently there isn't a retail location for La Zumba.
No.
But that is, can you speak about that? Potential or...
You're getting into the business pod or module, is that no matter, to create a cafe here, but to put the time in and do it properly, to do your decor correctly, your colours, your brochures, your menu board, your furniture, and document it all so that it's all completely documented and can be duplicated or licensed out or franchised out, whichever way is legal under the company structure. So that then anybody that's interested, like all over Indonesia, the major cities, they can get into a franchise that has a cafe, and then the barista training, which is looking after two totally different levels of business, machinery, coffee, and introducing other food and beverage products as well.
Yeah.
So it just becomes a nice, attractive little business pod.
Yes.
That you could license out to every major city in Indonesia, no problem.
And the current corporate structure that you have will enable you to do everything you just mentioned. So one could do a physical location, but then, of course, the franchise potential is there as well under the current corporate structure.
Yeah, exactly. If like a Westerner, a foreigner coming to Indonesia, hasn't got 100% faith in the nominee structure of a company, which this would be, they can start a foreign investment company and partner up with this PT company. So they can have their name as director on the PMA. They're 100% legal that way as well without the nominee, but then they become partners with the nominee. So it's quite you can be very secure in it.
So can you talk about this nominee process, but maybe both relative to what you just mentioned, but also the business itself, the larger business?
Right. When I first started the business, I was advised not to do foreign investment company, but to do a local PT and to use people that I trusted. Always my question was, well, how do you trust them? You hear all the nightmare stories and everything like that. So the people that became the nominees pre-signed a resignation letter, which wasn't dated.
And let's define nominee.
Yeah,
please.
The nominee was somebody who we use their name and their local identity. Indonesian. One is a director, one is a commissaris. Signed up in front of a notary. They are utilised when a document needs to be signed.
Because a foreigner can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. They don't set foot inside accounting. They don't know anything about the running of the business or anything. They're strictly nominee, which they are paid a monthly figure for, which up until recently was 1 million rupiah per month, which is 100 Australian dollars per month.
Right.
So it's a cheaper option as well.
They're on official documents from the beginning, but they essentially sign over just everything to you.
Yeah, I am now a director of this PT company because I've been employed by it with the visas that are accessible through this company.
And we'll cover that in a minute.
So I'm now a director, but not financial director. I am only managing director.
Okay.
The share structuring of this PT is under nominees, but you have protection letters, like pre-signed resignation, etc., etc. To be 100% safe and secure for Westerners, if they're not secure with the way things go in Indonesia, I am. I've been here a long time. You yourself have, so I'm quite comfortable with the way it is. They can start a PMA company, which they're a director of, and they can partner up with this.
I see.
All bank accounts.
That's roughly 10,000 US or something, is it?
Yeah, 8 to 10.
Okay,
8 to 10,000, yeah.
A one time?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm in full control of the bank accounts. Nominees don't get to see the bank accounts. They don't even know which banks they are.
Right.
Really.
They're simply not involved.
True. No, they're not involved.
You never even see them.
No.
If they showed up at the front door claiming any kind of rights or anything. Just a quick word. This sort of nominee process happens in general real estate transactions in Bali as well. I had a nominee for our property and still do, and that, so whether we're talking business or just real estate, this nominee process is a well-worn path here in Indonesia. It's got to be a notaris, has got to sort of construct everything, obviously, but in this case everything is in place.
Power of attorneys signed and documented in front of notaries play a big part of all of the nominee game. So there's all of that, pre-signed resignation letters.
The protections, I was literally sitting in a room with my nominee, and their name is on the title, but then there's a stack of forms that essentially signed over all rights to our property. Just every development, and say I can sell it on, I never have to see them again. I assume that it's a similar
something.
Yeah.
For
a business.
The exchange of this business would be the identities of the new nominees get presented to the notary.
So the buyer of Lazumba would come in with their own. It would be a new nominees. Okay,
yes,
a new Indonesian.
Yeah.
Do they have to know somebody? Do they have to trust somebody?
The notary can give them nominees as well.
Yeah, sometimes it happens that a person literally this will sound incredible, but literally working in the notary's or the local lawyer in their office is the nominee, right?
Yeah,
like the secretary. I mean,
yeah.
welcome to Indonesia.
Yes, but a lot of the time the secretary is the nominee for like 10 different companies.
Right. It may sound just wild that a secretary in a lawyer's office has his or her name on 10 different corporate structures, but this is the way it goes here. And properties as well, $1 million properties sometimes, no doubt.
You can always get a nominee who the notary doesn't know, which can make you feel a little bit more comfortable. Then you think, oh, there's no collusion.
Exactly.
But yeah, the nominees, within 2 days the documents are drawn up, exchanging contracts and passing over all company documents and giving over with the money, and it's all a very quick, easy process.
They're taking over obviously what you have.
Yeah.
Everything is transferable, the whole structure and everything.
Yeah.
And but that process is it's not really problematical. Yeah. Generally, I'd be quite comfortable with somebody in the office doing it, just because a new nominee coming in might think that they have more rights than they actually do, and create some problems. You know, even if, so. Yeah, I mean, that obviously would be the call of a buyer of this business, their call, but yeah, totally up to them. The kitas that it comes with.
Yeah, kitas, these are residency for 1 year.
Okay.
And work permit for 1 year. So, and that's what I've been operating on since I started.
You essentially can issue yourself your own kitas.
The company.
The company. Yeah. With this business, what you do is you step in and you've got a 100% legal way to work your own business in Indonesia without any of the legwork or getting it together to begin with, or any of the trust issues. You don't know a notarist that you can trust. You don't know that they could step in essentially to the role that you've been in with this business for 15 plus years now.
Yeah, just the cost to actually establish a business, because you're living without an income. You know, so and a lot of the companies, it takes a long time to form a company here, and then you've got all the individual licensing underneath them. It's a very, what's the word for it? It does so many different...
Versatile.
Import, export of all food and beverage.
So they just decided
they were electronics, building materials, real estate, development. It's crazy how big it is. Yeah.
So nowadays you'd have to sort of pick one or one area.
You get two categories, and I think in food and beverage now you only get two categories under food and beverage. So if you wanted to do beef, you can get beef, and you can get one under.
I see.
One other. Whereas I can do beef, seafood, dairy, raw produce, canned produce, everything.
We touched on it earlier, but just this idea that potentially there's so many ways that one could legally proceed with this corporate structure that's already in place.
We've got a customer base of in excess of about 90 customers. So introducing another food product, which they're going to need, the hardest part is to get a customer to start with. So just start introducing food products, and then you're building your profits from there, because you've already got them. So your overheads remain the same, but your profits are getting bigger.
Yeah, and now in the digital world, it's so easy. If you have a brand established, which the buyer is going to have, you can advertise a new idea. For instance, pizza ovens, which maybe we can talk about, before you even actually get into the business, to find out if the interest is there, so that there's no you don't have to buy stock, things like that. If you find that you have a line in Spain to bring in pizza ovens, run some ads, an AdWords campaign, to just find out if there is real potential. But talk please a little bit about that. That was a bit of a surprise to you
how quick it took. The interest. We've been doing ad campaigns on people like interest-free, buy a machine, or that's a coffee machine, blah, 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 blah. On promoing and posting and boosting and paying for it all and everything like that, you might get 2 or 3 people inquiring over a month. With the way that we've been doing everything, we just posted 4 days ago pizza ovens, and we've got like half a dozen people interested already. Yeah, just on that, and I'm like, wow, it's sort of a bit crazy on the interest of it. There's no competition here on pizza ovens. Zanussi's here, very expensive. Getra from China's here, they don't work, they're garbage, they break down. Everyone's unhappy with the Getra because they can't cook a pizza, and everyone's unhappy with Zanussi because they can't get the spare parts. There's a huge market here, as well with the full range of commercial kitchen equipment. I've been in contact with a company out of Italy. They're manufacturing Italian standards in China, which a lot of companies do now. And they're exporting direct out of Hong Kong. Firma, F-I-M-A-R. They have a huge range, complete range. Anything and everything to set up a commercial kitchen. And they're very interested. They're like, yes, we want somebody in Indonesia. It would take a bit of money to get the full distribution rights for all of Indonesia, but to establish the distribution rights for Bali alone and maybe Lombok, that's very achievable. And but for me to start with, because I haven't got a huge amount of capital behind me, I'm starting off with pizza ovens. So
fantastic.
Yeah, it's another way in with the coffee. It's another way in with the barista school as well.
Yeah, and to get the initial, to find that there is some traction apparently with that didn't take I think a much money
and we're not even professional with the for what you do, for the marketing, internet marketing.
Right. It just strikes me that part of the attractiveness of this is that you've got a business in Bali that's turnkey, but that for a Bali business it's not tied to Bali tourism only.
The domestic market for employment,
yeah.
It's like the Barista Centre for diploma course for graduates of the food and beverage courses, so they can get into hotels, they can get into cafes, and for businesses so that they can get their staff trained.
Right.
Yeah, so that's and then later on become an employment agency. So you sort of your main drive is away from tourism and travel completely, which is great.
Right.
Which is where Bali suffers from time to time, and tourism's downturn, like the last 2 years. There's been a downturn, and that's directly from tourism.
Yeah.
So we've had two going on 3 years, so it should start, the up curve should start now.
But in any case, you're built right into this because of the type of corporate structure you have. You can just, you've already got in place income streams that are not about tourism specifically. You're lowering risk by diversifying.
Yeah, with the tourism, you've got your peak months and then your down months. Basically, your worst months are December, January, February, March. Funnily enough, is one of the worst months. But with the Barista Training Centre building momentum, it'll start to fill in that hole. With and the commercial kitchen equipment and the business model, the business pod, getting it outside of Bali, away from tourism. So then you're really starting to rock once you're outside of Bali.
What you have is a built-in model for not experiencing or for dampening that
not being hit as hard.
Yeah,
and we've actually built our customer base, even though there's been a downturn in tourism in the last 2 years, especially last year with the volcano. There's been a huge downturn in tourism, but our customer base has gotten bigger.
Interesting.
So that when things do start to swing back up, which they should be doing this year, I think, our volumes and our profits should outweigh, the previous years, which is good.
So Cam, why wouldn't I just come here to Bali and try to get my own thing started? Why is it more attractive to? Can you talk a little bit more about that? More attractive, other benefits of purchasing from you rather than setting up on my own.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people go, "Oh, why would I buy from you when I can set up on my own?" There was a coffee company that approached me, and I'm sure they've probably spent twice as much already, and they've gained half as much ground. For starters, nobody knows you. You've got to establish a company, which means you've got to cover your living expenses for up to a year. And when you first start a company, your sales are not going to achieve instant profits. You've got all your office costs and expenses to cover. So it takes a while. It takes a good 18 months before you're actually even level. So with this, you're actually starting off with profits. And the branding's there, so the product awareness. Just a lot easier. I wouldn't try to establish this again myself, knowing what I know.
Yeah, right. but what else does the sale include then? You mentioned this.
The profits, there's three types of profits, which includes about 60,000 worth of equipment and machinery, which is intrinsic to achieving those profits, which is your office equipment, tools, computers, all that sort of thing. Machinery which we rent, machinery which we use for servicing other people's machines, just anything intrinsic. And
this lease on this building? Or?
The lease on this building, we've got 1 year as of July already paid up front. They're not too bad with the rent. They don't force us to pay 5 years up front, which most places do. Mm-hmm. So it's quite affordable in that sense as well. Mm-hmm. Like if you're to establish your own business, you've got to renovate. Well, you've got to find a property. You've got to pay 5 years up front. Mm-hmm. You've got to renovate, and then you've got to establish your company structure, and they'll inspect the property to see that it already is renovated and that you can actually do that, what you want to achieve, that you're allowed to do it in that building. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through, and we've already jumped through them, which you can't charge for really. So people are kind of getting that for free.
Yes.
As
a package.
Yeah.
Step right into it.
Yeah.
After the sale, would you be at all available for consultations or to have questions?
We'd have to stay on until they'd already gone through a purchase process for every product that we buy. Group lots from China, machineries from Spain, spare parts from Spain, coffee from Australia, which is South American roasted in Australia, and then we import it. And any other products that we buy, we just go through that PO process and shipping and freighting. So they're familiar with the way that works. Mm-hmm. The day-to-day operation, training on what goes down, basically. For that, I would think after the business has been finalised, contracts exchanged, money exchanged, we could stay on for 3 months. And then after that, we'd always be contactable by email or telephone. I mean, I don't mind a phone call or an email. It's not a big drama.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah. We would actually notify the new suppliers if the new buyer wanted us to notify the current suppliers that we've changed. If they don't want us to and they just want us to introduce as a new purchasing officer, okay, we can do that as well.
And you mentioned roughly 90 clients or so that you have at the moment. How would you do an introduction for?
I don't think they need to know.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't think they need to know that because I established it myself.
Yeah.
There are some personal ties there with some people, but I don't think they need to know at all. It's just
they're taking over your processes just the way you are.
And I don't even go out marketing anymore. Whereas in the early days, you're out there on your feet on the street, knocking on doors, booking appointments.
Yeah.
We operate by word of mouth, and what should be really a big lift is what you offer.
Yeah, and it will. I mean, working both of them together, so you have that locally established brand, which you just can't do. You just can't snap your fingers and do it. I mean, anywhere in the world, obviously.
Yeah.
Before I met you, I knew the brand. I've seen it for.
And that takes trade shows, which I did for years and years.
Did you?
Alternate year, one Jakarta, one Bali. And each time you do that, you're dropping $8,000, $10,000. Mm-hmm. And that's all going to the branding and product awareness, which you can't charge somebody for.
Right.
So if you're starting off your own product, you've got a couple of years of outgoing a lot of money.
Yeah.
Without even making any money.
Yeah, the branding and the cash flow is already established, and that's, if you're really looking to start something without having to do the, as you say, pounding the pavement to just start from zero, which, if you've got a dream, maybe you're willing to do that, but that sounds like a lot of work to me.
It's a nightmare, not a dream.
Yeah, you've gone through it.
That's hard. Well, the positive for us is, like, if somebody's interested, and once our due diligence process starts, it'll be very quick and easy because we're 100% legal and transparent.
Yeah.
Our taxes are 100% paid. Our invoicing from foreign countries is 100% accurate. We don't try to under-invoice to save money. It's all, everything's lined up, legal, easy, done.
And so, in terms of due diligence, if somebody's interested, let's talk about this. Maybe I'll obviously leave your contact info. Maybe they could come to Bali to take a look at what you've got. However, whatever you decide. Yeah. This video can't be. This is not due diligence. This is just an introduction that I'm providing. It doesn't substitute for the due diligence you'd want to do yourself. I'm personally confident of recommending CAMN and La Zumba as a brand, certainly. So you would just take it from there.
Initially, profit and loss would be released over the last 3 years. In agreement, there would be some form of agreement on the goodwill factor then. Once that goodwill factor is agreed upon, a deposit would be given. After the deposit's received, the books would be opened up, and the process would start. Yeah.
And then the way it would work would be
it'd be the nominees with the new nominees.
Okay.
But obviously, I'd be present, and the new buyer would be present as well.
At the notary's office.
Yeah.
And
there's a standard contract of sale under Indonesian law. It's just a standard PT company contract of sale. It covers everything. Very basic, very simple. I've seen contracts of sale from other people, and they try to get fancy and all of this, and there's no need. It's just, there's goodwill, there's stock, there's money in the bank, and there's money owing from customers, and that's it. It's not complex, it's very simple.
Anything else you'd like to add? We've covered, like, while you're selling, you're simply ready to move on.
We live above the office, so it makes it cheap for living. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't suit a lot of people.
But that would be available to a new buyer if they would want to. And this is this living space is what, probably
94 square meters.
It's
huge.
Yeah.
Nice big bedroom with a balcony at the front, over on the main road though.
That's right.
But
it's quiet, by the
dining
area.
Yeah. But it just makes it very cheap and very easy to run the business because you're living above it. It's private, staff can't come up.
Yeah.
But you hear when they start, you hear when they go, you can keep your eye on them, you can CCTV it out if you wanted to. Plus it just makes it very cheap to start.
No kidding. So you get in and you've got a foothold here immediately, including a place to live, right? At least as you're getting started, right? It's quite livable. It's also extremely central. Yeah. We're right near Sunset Road. Basically, this is Legian, actually. Seminyak Legian.
Yeah, we're central for all over Bali.
Anything else you'd like to add?
We've got a good relationship with all of the. We've got a tax consultant, and he's been a tax consultant for years. He does the annual tax reports. That's very transparent, very easily part of due diligence. The relationship with the import clearance people is all there, structured. Just relationships are established. It's all ready to roll. It's rolling. It's just a matter of pushing. Which I don't want to do. I'm done. I've had a long time and a long stint in Bali, and it's time for us to go, basically.
That happens, and it has been a long time for you.
Yeah.
I would be quite happy for a potential buyer, if they'd like some consultation, very happy to tell you the ideas that I have in terms of digital marketing for this business. There is a ton of potential. So I'm going to send this out to my list of subscribers with WageFreedom.com. You know, we'll see what happens. Good luck to you. I don't think it's going to take very long to sell this business.
The right people, I think. The hard thing is as a last thing, basically, there aren't any business brokers in Bali.
Yeah, that's the reason why we started talking was that
Jakarta's got them, but I tried talking to a couple of them, and they were like, $500,000? Are you kidding? We don't get out of bed for anything under 20 million. They're like, there's a lot of big businesses here, and like they're very small.
It almost seems like an opportunity for somebody to step in for the mid-range, established businesses like you, legit businesses. Because I'm getting, every week, literally, what should I purchase? I'm selling my house. I'm moving to Bali. What can I do? And I'm like, well, there's a lot you can do, but geez, to get it started, that's specifically always been the reason why I'll just route people into learn how to do something online and sell services or something. But if somebody could step in to something that's already a turnkey situation. Enormously attractive, in my opinion, in my honest opinion. So, hey, good luck with it.
Thanks for doing it.
Well,
somebody actually likes what we've just done,